The blower unit on my wood burner has been making noise for a long time, but recently it's gotten a lot worse. Now apparently replacing the entire unit is about $400. Screw that, I'm going to see if I can fix it instead. Yeah, that noise. First thing I got to do is pull the unit out, of course, and now I already started a fire here, but I don't think this gets hot enough to worry about burning myself on it or anything. We've got two independent blower assemblies here, not electrically independent, they're wired together, but mechanically they're separate. The one on the left has a lot of end play, probably where all the rattling comes from. The one on the right is pretty tight, difficult to turn, and you can only remedy that with a spray lubricant so many times before that just doesn't work anymore. So hopefully I can replace just the blower assemblies. Okay, funny story. Actually, it's not that funny, it's more of a miracle. This fireplace has been making noise for a long time, like several years, with this unit rattling a lot. And I finally said, okay, I'm going to do something about it. And I did happen to find the replacement blower assemblies on Amazon. So I went ahead and ordered those, and I think it was 2 days probably, and they showed up on the porch, and I kid you not, it was maybe an hour after they were delivered that the unit went from a little annoying rattle to that loud squealing noise that you heard in the beginning. So it looks like I had ordered this stuff and it arrived just in time. And that's not the way things normally work with me. Usually I have a crisis because there was something I should have taken care of earlier, it finally breaks, and then I don't have the tools or materials to fix it right away. Now when I went looking for these, I didn't have a model number for my wood burner, it just said Avalon on it and that was it. So I kind of just had to compare pictures online from what I had here, keeping my fingers crossed that when they arrived they were going to be the same, and now that they're here, comparing the two, it looks like it's pretty much the identical unit, and therefore should just be a direct drop-in. Looking closer at it, the original blower assemblies are secured with pop rivets, which not a big deal, just drill them out and pop rivet the new units in, provided that I can find my rivet gun. This is one of those tools where I can kick this thing around my shop for a year, and then when I finally need it and I think I know where it is or where I saw it last, I can't find it. Now if this is something that happens to you, let me know in the comments because I need to know that I'm not the only one. Hey, turns out I found my rivet gun exactly where I thought it was going to be, which is like 2 miracles so far. So that only means one thing, and that is everything else on this project is going to go wrong. As you may have guessed by now, I'm not much of an optometrist. Actually, I think I mean optimist. First thing I'm going to do is dewire these motors, and even though this is very basic wiring, I'm going to take a picture anyway, just in case when I put everything back together there's just something weird going on. I've got the right side unit out right now, and this is the one that didn't turn very freely at all, but I'm noticing here that this has a nylon squirrel cage, and the new units have a full metal squirrel cage, and I think that's important, especially dealing with a fireplace where you could have a cinder, something get down in there, melt part of the nylon squirrel cage, and then now that's going to be out of balance, going to make noise, not to mention it'll tear itself apart in pretty quick order. So the full metal squirrel cage, I think, good upgrade. The wires on these new units have spade connectors installed, which is great if you've got the opposite ones already on your unit, which I don't. So I don't know if I'm going to cut those off and just splice them together with wire nuts or put spade connectors on the other end. I have options, I just don't know which way I'm going to go yet. I just discovered something here with the old unit, and not a big deal or anything, but it looks like that I've got these clips on here that appears that they would hold the unit in place into the fireplace on this end, and then here this plate right there, and these are held in with rivets. So I guess I'll have to drill out the rivets and move these plates over to the new blower assemblies, which Not a big deal. Again, it's just going to take like a 20-minute project and turn it into a 25-minute project. Yeah, well, it turns out that the old and new fan assemblies aren't identical after all. On the newer one, the exhaust port on the volute or the housing doesn't extend quite as far as it did on the old one. And because those retaining clips are on the fan units themselves, that entire assembly is going to have to be mounted back a little bit further towards the rear to ensure that those clips engage fully when it's placed back into the fireplace. I've got all the wiring connected and bundled, taped up out of the way because the rod for the damper or the air control goes through here, and you want to be sure it doesn't interfere with the wiring. Okay, quick recap of what I had to do to put these new fan units in. Of course, the old ones had to be drilled out. There's just 2 rivets on the bottom for each side, and then I had to drill through the holes in the base plate to make holes in the fan housings because they didn't have holes already. And then we had this one clip and then also this plate on each of those fan units that had to be removed from the old and onto the new one, each of those with 2 rivets. Of course, the wiring was just redone the way it was wired originally. And again, the fan housings were slightly different geometry, as the exhaust was a little bit longer on the old one, and getting the back set correctly so that those clips engage correctly was important. I just looked at the old fan housing, and there was a very distinct line there that showed how much reveal there was, or how much it was back set off of the mounting plate of the entire assembly. I measured back from there, and therefore I got the right amount of back set with the new ones. When I first turned this on to test it, I noticed the RPMs weren't as high as I thought they should be, but it was gradually ramping up the speed, so apparently the brushes took a little while to seat, and maybe even the bushings to wear in a little bit. So it seemed like it took about maybe 2 minutes or so to break in before it came up to full speed. And it's weird. Something I've experienced with DC motors plenty of times, but not AC motors. At least nothing that I've noticed. But now both these fans are running as expected. Okay, there's the proverbial moment of truth here. I'm going to reinstall my unit and see if it snaps in the way it should. Align the rod. Okay. And I think the camera can adjust the light correctly, or make sense of the bright and the dark. So it looks like this is a nuclear reaction going on in here, but it's not that bright. Anyway, the blower here. No rattles, no squealing or anything. It's just the sound of the blower in the air. So, perfect. Now it is a little bit louder as far as like wind noise goes, and I think it's just because it's pushing more air, more CFMs. Because before, when that thing was running full speed, I can put my hand up here in this area, and I can kind of barely feel the air getting blown out. And now, back behind the camera, I can actually feel it on my face, the air blowing out. So the fact that it's louder, I think it's just because, yeah, I'm getting more air. So I can always turn it down. Probably get what I was getting before as far as airflow goes. Yeah, it's quieter. So this is definitely an upgrade, no doubt. So should have done it years ago. Overall, a success. Got rid of my squeaks and rattles, got more airflow, and for about a third of the cost of replacing the entire unit. Per the listing on Amazon, these work with select Lopi and Avalon wood stoves. I'll leave a link in the description.